All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm doing a little driving for dollars today. Probably drive for 20 or 30 minutes in this video. And I'm actually just driving a couple of the neighborhoods near my home. I haven't drove for dollars in my neighborhood in a while. Driving up and down the houses. I'm using discountpropertyleads.com, which is my favorite driving for dollars software. You can also use it to pull your list of motivated sellers, vacants, tired landlords, inherited houses, you name it. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm doing a little driving for dollars today. Probably drive for 20 or 30 minutes in this video. And I'm actually just driving a couple of the neighborhoods near my home. I haven't drove for dollars in my neighborhood in a while. So that's what I'm doing. Just kind of driving up and down the houses. I'm using discountpropertyleads.com, which is my favorite driving for dollars software. You can also use it to pull your list of motivated sellers, vacants, absentees, seniors, high equity, tired landlords, inherited houses, you name it. You can use it to list stack, and it even appends all of the data, phone numbers, email addresses, and a wealth of data on each property inside of a mobile app or the website. I love how in the Driving for Dollars app, they have one for Apple and Android, how it traces your route. And if you come across a route that's older, it'll even show you that, which helps prevent you from driving the same properties or the same areas over and over again, which is super, super helpful. So what am I looking for here when I'm driving for dollars, guys? I'm looking for properties that are showing physical signs of distress. I'm looking for properties that have boarded up windows, and really the part of town that I'm in right now is a nicer part of town. As you can see here, we have some new builds on the street. You know, houses in this neighborhood range from 800,000 to 2 million. So you're not going to find boarded up houses in the neighborhood that I'm in here today. But you will find properties that have damage from recent storms. Maybe they have gutters falling off the house, or they have siding that has blown off. Could be hail damage, something along those lines. So in different parts of town, you're going to find that you're going to kind of be looking for different things. And this is a nicer part of town. Again, homes are going to, kind of average around 800,000 to $1 million, with a few homes being in the $2 million mark. So I'm probably not going to find too many houses in this neighborhood here that are going to have boarded up windows. But sometimes I will find properties that have boarded up windows in areas of town that I drive for dollars in that, aren't as nice. I'll also look for tarps on the roofs. I'll look for properties that have broken down cars in the driveway, or maybe they even have a dumpster in the driveway, which could be a sign of them cleaning it out before they're getting ready to sell it. So again, I'm just looking for distressed properties that I can add to my list. Now, driving for dollars isn't really marketing, it's list building. And I always talk to my students about this mentality, this mindset. Just because you go out and drive for dollars and build yourself a list doesn't mean that you're marketing. In fact, you're not. You're building a list so you can then market or prospect to that list. So you need to make sure that if you do decide to drive for dollars, that after you're done, you export that list and you cold call it or text it or email those individuals. Or my personal favorite is to send them mail. I can kind of grab the camera here and show you some of these. I don't want to make you guys dizzy, but this is a nice neighborhood. I walk through this this neighborhood sometimes when I'm out just walking or jogging. This is just up the street from my house. And, you know, I'm not really expecting to find a ton of properties in this neighborhood that I'm going to be able to add to my list. But here's one example. This one here is just kind of dated. No, it's not a bad home. It's a great house. I mean, that house is probably worth 500 grand, but it's kind of dated. The colors are, you know, just a little dated, you know. So I'm going to go ahead and add that one to my list. So you can see I can just click on the map here, 1442, and it's going to add that property to my list. That one's got an estimated value of about 400,000. So pretty decent little property. This way that I can kind of show you guys some of these tools as I come to areas that I have hit a second go around here. So I've added 2 properties. I've been going for 9 minutes. A couple minutes of that was setting up the computer here. I've added 2 properties, you know, and in a 20 or 30 minute time frame of driving for dollars, you know, in a nicer neighborhood, I might only add, or in a nicer part of town, I might only add 5 to 10 properties, you know, in 20 to 30 minutes. There's other parts of town where I might add 150 properties in 30 minutes worth of driving for dollars time. So it just kind of varies. It just kind of depends on the neighborhood that you're in. The more affluent areas where you have nicer homes, you're going to find less properties that are in need of work. But even in the nicest of areas, you know, storms can come through and knock down trees. People can die. They can get behind on their bills and, you know, kind of let their houses go. So, you know, don't just go drive for dollars in, you know, areas that are not affluent. That's definitely not the goal. That's a good looking house. This one here also looks nice. This one looks good. So, you know, you want to drive for dollars all over the place. This one here, that roof looks a little dated. So I'll add that one. It's not a terrible home, but, you know, could use a little bit of work. So yeah, I mean, really, you're just looking for distress. Any physical sign of distress, you're not really going to be able to tell from driving for dollars if a house is vacant or absentee. Sometimes you can add those filters to the map, and we can test that out really quick, see if that's an option or not. So we can go into, I don't know if you can do that or not. You can go into the settings. It doesn't look like they have the filters in here. I think that's coming soon. So we'll circle back on that. But really, it's not even really important to be able to add those filters. You know, it doesn't really matter if the house is vacant or occupied or absentee owned or not. If it's got a physical sign of distress, it can make for a good opportunity for you to do some marketing. So you can kind of see here on the map that I'm driving down a street now that I've already hit. So I'll zoom out a little bit so you guys can kind of see here. But I've already driven down the street going around that circle. So I don't really need to, you know, focus too much on these houses because I just looked at them a second ago. So this tool is super, super helpful to see the areas that you have already driven. And again, as you drive more and more and you fill up your map more and more, the properties are color coded, which is pretty cool. So you can show your past driving routes. And let me make the screen a little bigger so you guys can see. You can see 0 to 6 months is green, 6 to 12 months is yellow, 12 to 24 months is red. So I always have that toggled on. So as you're driving, you can see it. Now, whenever I get rid of the crop screen, it's going to remove the top and the bottom of my mobile app, which is my cell phone on the right side of the screen here. And that's okay. I want to make it a little bit easier for you guys to kind of see, you know, what the map looks like as it's moving. It makes for a better tutorial that way. So, you know, good homes in this area. Don't expect to find a ton of neglected properties. You got some older houses, as you can see here, and you know, you got a couple new builds. Like this one here is really, really nice. That's a nice big home. I'm just driving in my Tesla. My phone's mounted here, and I just got this little camera. Hey guys. And really, these videos are just to kind of help teach you guys and girls, you know, what it looks like and what the process is. I mean, essentially, you're just using the mobile app and you turn on the driving for dollars so it starts to track your route. So this one here, you know, that's a good house. They got a trailer in the driveway. They still have awnings on the home. It doesn't look terrible, but it looks like there might be an elderly person living there. And you know that this can make for a decent lead. So I'm gonna add this one to the map here. All I got to do on my phone is just click the button, and it'll go ahead and save the property. And now that's added. So we've gotten 4 properties added at this point. You know, I try to make an effort. I haven't been that good at being consistent with my driving for dollars lately. I'm not going to lie to you guys, but you know, even when I'm not very consistent, I'll get out and do it, you know, once or twice a week, but I'm gonna try to do it every day for the next 2 or 3 months, even if it's only for 15 or 20 minutes. So you got a little cul-de-sac here with some pretty nice houses. None of these houses are showing any signs of distress. And this is a park that I walk to right here from my house and do a loop around that park. That's the Pear Park. So you can see here, I've already driven this little stretch so I can go a little faster to catch up. But this driving for dollars software and app, it really just makes the whole process easy, fun. It automates this process to where I don't have to stop and write down the addresses with a pen and paper. I don't have to have a notepad and a pen. I can just click on it and it's going to add them. It's also going to give me a lot of information about the property when I click on it. And if I wanted to, I could pull over and I could call or text or even email the homeowner from my cell phone or from the app. I get all the data from the app, and then I would just take that over to my phone and call, text, or email. These houses all look pretty good. This one here, this looks good. It definitely looks a little dated. You got this big ugly tree in the yard. So, you know, that could make for a decent little house to add. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that one. So we'll get that one added. I've added 5 houses. I've driven 2.7 miles. And I've been going for 17 minutes. And if I, again, pull the screen out a little bit, you can kind of see the app on the right. It's not really big. That's why I don't really like this view so much. Another view that I could try is I could make it bigger like this. Oh, you know what I got to do? I got to get rid of my crop screen. And then I can add it this way. So that might be a little bit easier for you guys to see. I'll just leave it in the middle there. Kind of cuts off my text at the bottom of the screen, but that's okay. Also, I don't want to neglect to mention that if you guys want to test this out, discountpropertyleads.com is where you go to sign up. And if you use code DAVE, you can get 50% off your first month. So as you can see here, the road is coming to a point where I've already gone. So I'm going to turn and I'm going to go back out. I'm going to go down and I'm going to hit some other areas here. Gotta watch out for traffic. Definitely, you know, I try to avoid busy roads just because my head's kind of on a swivel and I don't want to run into anybody or have anybody run into me. So I don't typically drive for dollars on the busy roads. I try to get myself into neighborhoods where I can kind of go slow, take my time. This house right here, it looks kind of dated, you know. It's not a bad house by any means. I know it's going to be a little harder to see with my phone on the screen there, but you know, it just looks like it could use a little love. Doesn't look like I can select that. Oh, there it goes. Select that house. So you can see whenever I am saving a property, I can click into the property and I can look at like property characteristics and, you know, see how long they've owned it for and the potential value. There's mortgage information. I can find contact information about the property owners, phone numbers, emails. You can find characteristics about the house. I mean, there's a wealth of data in here. Tax information, MLS information, sale and loan. All that information's in there, which is really super helpful to determine what the property's worth and all that stuff. So that's a little bit better to see that full screen. I'm going to take the full screen off though, just because I don't want to share too much personal information with people that I'm clicking on. If you guys want that information, you can go get yourself the software and you can download the mobile apps and you can get out and you could drive for dollars in your own neighborhoods and get yourself some deals. So I'll span out a little bit so you guys can kind of see where I've driven thus far today. And I'll drive for maybe another 10 minutes or so before I go home and hang out with my wife and my daughter. And I'll make a right at this street here, Claychester. Now this is kind of a busy road, but I think I'll be okay. Just gotta keep my eye on the road. You can see that as you move, phone will keep you in the center, which is such a great tool, and it will move the map around you. Really, these three houses right here, this one, and this one, all are dated. They look like they could use a little love. I'm gonna add all three of those. And as I'm adding these, I stop. You probably noticed that. So you gotta, if you're on a busy road, you gotta pull over so you don't, block traffic or get in the way. You got some houses that are, kind of dated and in need of repairs. And then you got new builds in the same street. I know this camera's not the best, so bear with me, guys. But, you got nicer homes. This is a good mixed neighborhood here. So any house can make for a good lead. So look, here's a decent one straight ahead. You guys notice that blue tarp on the roof? Straight ahead. So I can pull the screen down here and that'll populate more addresses. This one looks like 1558 right here. And again, just because they have a tarp on the roof doesn't necessarily mean that they're in distress, but they could be. It's a sign. And that's what we're looking for. We're just looking for signs that somebody might be in a situation where they need to sell their house fast. And that's where we come in. We can call them and make them an offer. And in this particular neighborhood too, there's a lot of new construction. Like, that's a newer house, not brand new by any means, but it's a nice newer house. I know that the camera's not doing too great right there. Whereas you have this one here, and it's not a bad house, don't get me wrong, but it's dated. And a builder would be interested to buy a house in this neighborhood, even if it's a good house, but it's dated, then they could tear it down and then they could go and they could build a nice big new one. So, again, nothing really wrong with this house right here, but it would make for a good lead because look what's right next door. This big, nice one. You got another big, nice one. This one looks like it was a ranch and they built a 3-car garage next to it. You got another big, nice one. Another big nice one. So this one right here could make for a decent lot. So what I'll do is I'll select it on the map and you can see it'll then add it and then I'll just move along. So I've been going for 24 minutes. I've added 11 properties and I've driven 3.7 miles, and all that's going to be at the top of the screen. You guys might not be able to see that. Doesn't look like I'm sharing my full iPhone screen on the right side of the screen here, but I can see it and I'll show you guys before I wrap up. So, houses, even houses that are, 3 to 500 grand, 400 to 600 grand, can make for good prospects because I'm not really buying the house so much as I am the lot. This one to my left right here, 512. Good house. Looks like they've taken pretty good care of it. It's got a ton of trees and it's a good lot. So I'll probably add that one too. That one was, 512. So we'll add that one. This one right here on my right looks like it could be a decent little house, 1507. These two are in pretty good shape on my right. This one straight ahead looks nice. Although that wall looks like it could be coming down at some point. See that wall? Again, I know my camera's not great here, guys, but that wall right there could use some work. I'm going to add that one to the list as well. That one's 1506. Then you can see on the right side, that's the app on my phone, mirroring my phone. It's going to show me that, hey, I've already driven this street. So I don't really need to pay any extra close attention to these because I've already driven them. And I am going to come to this intersection here. I'm going to call it a day on my driving for dollars here, guys. But as you can see on my phone, I have gone 3.9 miles. I've got added 14 houses and I've driven 27 minutes. So 14 houses over 27 minutes is pretty good for nicer areas. Again, in the lower quality areas, lower affluency, you're going to find much more distressed properties than you are in nicer areas. And I would say the area I'm in right now is probably about an A minus. It's definitely not the nicest part of town, but it's, you know, some of it, definitely a nicer part of town. So this is kind of my neighborhood here. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. But guys, check out discountpropertyleads.com. There's a mobile app as well. It's called propleads.ai. Use code Dave to get 50% off your first month. I use it for all my driving for dollars, my direct mail, my skip tracing, my list stacking, my property data. You can even use it to run comps, determine ARVs. And it's just an awesome resource. So thanks for watching. Signing off. See you tomorrow. Later, guys.